It was a real question when the Constitution was written, exactly how much power our executive would have. What would the term be? How would secession be handled? There were those that thought without a very powerful executive, the fledgling nation would never be able to become an independent country, able to support and defend itself. Instead of just a ragtag group of states that all agreed they didn't want someone else to be in charge of them. In the end, we ended up with a president. One that, after the precedent set by George Washington, only served 2 terms, 8 years. Now, FDR tested that one, but we very quickly instituted a law that said, nope, it's just the 8 years, in case lately anyone has been telling you differently about the length of term any one particular president can serve. In 2025, President Trump decided to throw himself a birthday party with full military regalia and call it a celebration of patriotism, marching service members and military machinery through our nation's capital in what was at the time shocking and seemed unprecedented. Now, frankly, it seems quaint in comparison to some of the things that have happened. Millions of people in more than 1,000 events across the country and across the world, for that matter, gathered together on that same day in June and came together to say, not so fast, my friend. We are still a democratic republic, and we want to stay that way. We don't throw military parades for our leaders. 4 months later, that same administration had decided to up the militarization of our cities by sending in ICE and the National Guard against the wishes of mayors and governors across the country into big cities and small ones, but mostly cities that voted against this current president. And 2,700 plus events brought together 7 million Americans to say, no thank you, actually. We want ice on our drinks, not on our streets. You know it made a difference, too, because it was all the president and the Speaker of the House could talk about for weeks before and after. They claimed it was both absolutely useless and made up entirely of old liberal white ladies, but also a dangerous example of domestic terrorism and obviously a threat to the safety of our nation. Which one was it, fellas? So now, it's March 2026, and things aren't exactly better. ICE is still detaining American citizens. Although we are winning those battles in court, it's happening slowly. The president has broken international law and ignored congressional authority, which the Speaker of the House is happy to help him do, and begun an illegal, unconstitutional, and unprovoked war with Iran, which is costing the American taxpayer more than $1 billion a day, with no stated goals or clear endpoints in sight. That means that our gas prices are skyrocketing, our nation is less safe, and our debt is climbing again. Meanwhile, this administration has cut health care for millions of Americans and made it more expensive for everyone else. And I don't know if you've checked lately, but grocery prices haven't gone down. So, March 28th, we're going to do it again, and even bigger. And this time, it's time for us to take action. Enough is enough. Vote, volunteer, do something.
We are Louisiana Indivisible. From New Orleans to North Louisiana, from Baton Rouge to the Bayou, from Shreveport to St. Bernard Parish, from Lake Charles to Lafayette to Leesville. Together, we can defend our democracy. We Are Louisiana Indivisible is highlighting people, politicians, and organizations across the state and region that understand there are no kings but king cakes in Louisiana, and that y'all will always mean all. Listen, share with your friends and neighbors, and help us work for a better tomorrow in Louisiana and beyond.
So let's give you the who, what, when, where, and why of No Kings 3. So who makes up No Kings? This is genuinely a nonpartisan event. I am very open about my progressive politics, and if you ask me, I am a registered Democratic voter. But Indivisible itself, and the No Kings rallies specifically, have had pretty broad support from folks that identify with various political parties. We're against power grabs by elected officials, subverting people's right to vote, limiting their access to representation, or consolidating power in the executive, either at the state or federal level, thus subverting the power of the legislature and the people. Church groups, civic groups, student groups, and individuals from all political backgrounds have attended and will be in attendance on March 28th. So what is it? It's a time to encourage ongoing action taking and participation in a movement to help ensure that our government is representative of its citizens and responsive to our needs and wishes, instead of powerful moneyed interests or an aggressive executive. We're going to play good music. We're going to meet others in our community that are worried about these same issues and ready to do something about them. We're going to hear from local leaders and activists in brief, I promise you, speeches that bring home for you and me exactly what this fight is about and what we can do right now and in the coming months. So when is it happening, Joel? March 28th. As the saying goes, check your local listings. You can go to nokings.org and find your local event, as there are thousands already organized all across the country. Or go to indivisible.org and find your local organization to get plugged in right now instead of just waiting to March 28th. You can help make posters. You can help organize events. You can help inform and register voters and so much more. If you are in North Louisiana, then I'd love to have you come join us. I'm going to be in Ruston at 10 a.m. on March 28th. I'm going to be in Monroe, Louisiana at 2 p.m. on March 28th. In Ruston, we're going to be downtown at Railroad Park. And in Monroe, we're going to be at the Ouachita Parish Courthouse. Come to one, come to both. Make a day of democracy with us. So when is it? I've already told you, March 28th. 10 a.m. in Ruston, 2 p.m. in Monroe, Louisiana. But no matter where you are, I'll say again, go to nokings.org and indivisible.org to get information on how you can plug in your local area. All right, let's talk about the big question. Why? I can't speak for every Indivisible member. I can't speak for everyone who attends No Kings. I'm going to speak for me. Personally, I've got 4 kids. I want their lives and their country and their state to be better than the one that I'm living in right now, to be more just and accessible to everyone, even the less fortunate. I want a healthcare system that works for them, one that incentivizes health, not long-term and ongoing catastrophe. I want them to always have the ability to vote, no matter their gender or their location, and I want that vote to matter, not be diluted by gerrymandering or moneyed influences in elections. I also want to remind myself that I'm not the only one in this fight, trying to build a better state and country for my kids. And I want to remember that my kids aren't the only ones that I'm building this for. It's for your kids, and those kids over there, and the neighbors' kids, and my grandkids, and yours, and their kids. It's time to do something. Vote. Volunteer. I'll add in donate if you're able. I know a lot of folks in my comments are going to say that this whole thing is paid for by billionaires, but I can assure you it's not. It's paid for by volunteers and small donors. I borrowed the pair of speakers that we used for our November event. Somebody else borrowed the speakers they used for the June event. We did buy a set of speakers for our events in March. However, that's on a volunteer's credit card right now, and we're hoping to fundraise to pay it off. Some locations are fortunate enough to have public spaces to hold their No Kings rallies. In Ruston, for instance, we're renting Railroad Park. Even if you have a public space available in your local area, though, your organization is probably having to pay for police presence to protect the crowd. They're paying for signage. They're paying for microphones. They're paying for gas to get to and from these events. They're paying for T-shirts. The list goes on and on. So, if you feel like I feel and want to work for a better country and state for your family and others, then do something. Vote, volunteer, donate if you're able to. I hope to see you and so many more on March 28th.